This trend keeps on happening, and seldom do the reasons why these situations come out in terms of these mass casualties events, okay? And so it came out that the it came out that the Department of Justice just settled with the church for $144 million. Now, you may be asking why? Well, because Sutherland Springs Church, where one of these things happened in 2017, found out some interesting details about the government's negligence with how this thing played out. Okay, so let's jump into this clip. This is the news, and then we have some additional information that we got to look at.
The Justice Department agrees in principle to pay $144 million to the families of the Sutherland Springs mass shooting. This after 75 people sued the Air Force for failing to disclose information about the shooter.
Whoops. They failed to disclose information about the prime suspect in that situation.
KENS 5 reporter Andrew Moore joins us with the settlement.
The plaintiffs say the Air Force had information that should have made its way to the National Instant Background Check System. That information was about the Sutherland Springs shooter. And the plaintiffs say it would have flagged that person when he tried to buy an AR. One of the initial lawsuits said the shooter had a domestic violence conviction and had been committed to a mental institution. But
so here, he was committed to an institution, yet somehow, apparently the Department of Justice didn't properly report this, and therefore he was allowed to get his hands on something he had no business getting his hands on, nor was he allowed legally to get his hands on. This is absolutely negligent. And this happened at a church, unfortunately. And so the members of this church took this to court, as they should, and won, as they should.
It claims the Air Force did not send identifying information, including fingerprints, to the FBI. The November 2017 mass shooting at the First Baptist Church ended with 26 people killed and another 22 injured. Attorney Jamal Al-Safar says many of those injured victims, including children, still need constant care. And he says some have already gone through multiple surgeries and will need additional surgeries in the future. He described the difficult reality they face like this.
One of the children has already had, I think, over 25 procedures on operations, and they're at risk of losing their leg. And so they need a lot of medical care.
Lord help
The attorney
us.
said he hopes the suit will be wrapped up within the next few months, but a lot of that depends on how fast federal departments move forward, so he can't say for sure. Deborah?
So I looked a little bit more into this. This is reported by My Christian Daily. Okay. And so let's see. Let me pull this up. And so that's where I found the clip. The U.S. Justice Department has announced an agreement in principle to settle the civil cases arising on the 2017 incident at First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs, Texas, that took out 26 worshipers and injured 22 others. Under the terms of the settlement, the government will pay the victims $144 million, as they should. This comes after a federal court in 2021 ruled the U.S. government was liable for damages caused by this. The person, we're not going to say his name, was a former member of the Air Force. The Air Force acknowledged afterwards that it failed to relay his conviction. Okay, prosecutors argued the move could have prevented him from getting his hands on this specific tool, which, if I remember correctly, I think this thing was settled in person, meaning neutralized. This dude was neutralized by people who had also access to these inanimate objects that all of a sudden are deemed as bad. Again, not addressing the underlying issues of how these situations even come to be, that there are red flag laws on the books. Hello. It's just that people need to participate in them in order for them to be effective, right? And so here was a law on the books that would have prevented this had the government did their job. And unfortunately, a church was tragically hit because of this, right? Now, members of the church have had a massive victory. According to the Department of Justice, these tentative settlements will resolve claims by more than 75 plaintiffs arising out of this. Plaintiffs' claim alleged that the Air Force was negligent, which it was, when it failed to transmit to the National Criminal Background Check System information about this person that would have prevented him from purchasing these tools from a federally licensed dealer. A federal district court in Texas concluded that the United States was liable for these things caused by this person. This tentative settlement would resolve the pending appeals. The agreement in principle would settle all claims for a total of $144 million. The settlement agreement has been approved, subject to the plaintiffs securing the required court approvals under applicable law. A court must approve some aspects of the settlements. No words or amount of money can diminish the immense tragedy of what happened in Sutherland Springs, said Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta. Today's announcement brings the litigation to a close, ending a painful chapter for the victims of this unthinkable crime. In March 2019, year and a half after the claim the lives of 26 people, First Baptist Church in Sutherland opened its doors to a brand new sanctuary. In addition to the new structure, the church site development also includes enhanced security measures so that its growing congregations feel safe during worship. We don't want to look like a fortress, but also wanted to make sure that everybody could feel safe inside. Wow, man. Notice this isn't national news. Notice this isn't being talked about. Why? Because this is a governmental L where the government could have prevented this. Instead, what are you hearing about? Oh, we need to take away these things. We need to do this. We need to, right? And no one's addressing the issue underneath, which is mental health, which is better access to mental health, which is more access to beds in these situations in terms of mental health, medical emergencies, right? And by the way, that's not partisan, because a lot of folks on the right aren't super pro mental health. Let's get people into facilities either, which is not right either. Or they're against red flag laws, which isn't right either. But there were red flag laws that would have prevented this, and they didn't, which is an L, which is a complete L. And so I'm glad that this was settled, but I'm disappointed that the media is not covering this more. Why is this not on Fox or CNN? Why is no one talking about this? You know, these people had literally the most horrific event that could happen to them, and exposed a lot of the incompetence and negligence on the government's part, and no one is talking about it. I wonder why. I mean, I don't mean to be all conspiratorial and stuff, but I wonder why. I wonder why. Maybe because this isn't a sexy headline, right? Maybe because it's better to blame a specific demographic of people about who, like to go on and use these inanimate objects and practice their Second Amendment rights. I don't know. But I found it interesting that this happened. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Listen, if you want to go the extra mile, partner with us to keep us independent, keep us brand free, so we can stay only answering to you, consider partnering with us in our online community for as little as $5 a month. Get exclusive access to our podcast, these daily after party streams, completely unedited, Discord access, discount code for our store, all for as little as $5 a month. So we never, ever, 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 ever have to make goofy commercials like these.
Our friends at Genucel Skincare have exciting news to celebrate in 2023.
Using Manscaped during my showers after workout has given me much more confidence.
And that's where Mud Water comes in.
True Classic has got your back.
All thanks to the sponsor of today's video, SayMine.com.
Established Titles is your opportunity to earn the title of Laird or Lady. Subject to credit approval, rates range from 7.99% APR to 19.99% APR, included 0.50% auto pay discount.
If you don't want us to make ads with brands you don't care about, sign up for our online community for as little as $5 a month to keep us independent and ultimately answering to you as our boss. You get all sorts of benefits like daily replays of our after party streams, exclusive access to our Discord community, and early access to our podcast interviews, all starting for only $5 a month.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.